The drums beat like thunder, echoing through the valley and waking every living creature in the village in Nkosi. The air was thick with the sweet scent of roasted yams and palm wine. Lanterns swayed in the evening breeze, casting dancing shadows on the mud walls of the villagers' homes. Today was no ordinary day. Today, Adunke, the village beauty, was to be married. Adunke was known far and wide, not just for her beauty, but for her strange, otherworldly aura. The elders whispered that she had been touched by the spirits at birth, that the river spirits themselves had blessed and cursed her at once. Some said she could hear the whispers of the forest at night. Others swore that snakes never dared to bite her, but none of that mattered today. Today she would become the wife of Oba Kweku, the richest and most respected man in the village. The villagers gathered in a swirl of color. Women wore beads that clinked like distant bells, and men draped themselves in embroidered cloths. Children ran between the guests, their laughter mingling with the rhythm of the drums. Adunke, adorned in a wedding gown woven with gold thread and scarlet silk, felt a strange shiver run through her spine. She tried to dismiss it, blaming it on excitement, but deep in her chest, her heart thumped not with joy, but with foreboding she could not name. Oba Kweku stood at the altar, tall and proud, waiting to take her hand. When Adunke approached, the villagers gasped at her radiance. And yet, as she stepped forward, a cold wind swept through the courtyard, snuffing out a few lanterns. A hush fell over the crowd. The elders exchanged nervous glances. "The spirits are restless today," muttered old Nanny Yaboa, clutching her staff. And then it happened. Before the priest could bless the union, Adunke doubled over in sudden agony. A scream tore from her lips, not of fear, but of shock. The villagers froze. Oba Kweku rushed to her side, bewildered. "What is happening?" he demanded, his voice trembling. With a force that made the earth beneath him seem to quiver, Adunke gave birth, not to a child, but to a giant snake, its scales gleaming like blackened emeralds, its eyes glinting with a strange intelligence. The snake coiled around her, but strangely, it did not harm her. It hissed once, a sound that cut through the crowd like a blade, and then it slithered toward the village square, its body larger than a grown man. The villagers screamed, some fleeing in terror, others frozen in disbelief. "A demon!" cried one man. "A curse upon the wedding!" shouted another. Yet Oba Kweku did not move. He stared at the creature, and at Adunke, with a mixture of fear, awe, and something else he could not name. Adunke, trembling, whispered, "Do not be afraid. He is not evil. He is part of me." But the villagers were beyond reason. They scattered like leaves in a storm, leaving only the elders, Oba Kweku, and a handful of brave souls. Old Nana Yaboa stepped forward, her eyes narrowing. "The river spirits have chosen you, child. You are no ordinary woman, and this is no ordinary union. That snake is a guardian, a harbinger, but it also carries a warning, a test for this village and its people." Adunke clutched Oba Kweku's arm. "I do not know why this is happening," she said, "but I know one thing. If you stay with me, if you truly love me, you must face what comes next. Together." The snake lifted its massive head, and its tongue flicked the air, tasting the fear and curiosity of all who remained. It was as if it was speaking without words. "The old world is ending. The new is beginning, and your choices will decide who survives." From that day on, the wedding that was meant to celebrate love became the day that would shake the very foundation of Nkosi village and change Adunke's life forever. The sun rose the next morning over Nkosi village, but its light could not chase away the shadow that had fallen. Word of the wedding snake spread faster than the morning breeze, carried by terrified villagers and wide-eyed children alike. Mothers clutched their babies, fathers whispered warnings, and even travelers passing through slowed their steps, gazing with awe and fear at the house where Adunke now lived. Inside, Adunke sat on a mat, her hands pressed against her knees. The snake lay coiled beside her, its body enormous, glistening in the faint morning light. Its emerald eyes watched her intently, and she could feel a strange pulse, like the beat of a drum inside her chest. Oba Kweku, who had spent the night awake by her side, finally broke the silence. "Adunke, what is it? How can a snake, A giant snake be your child? Adunk's eyes, red from tears and sleeplessness, met his. I do not know, she admitted. I only know that it is part of me, as if it has always been waiting to be born. The elders, they say it is a guardian, but I feel it is also a test. Oba Kweku struggled with the fear clawing at his chest. The villagers, they will never accept this. They will try to destroy it. The snake, as if understanding, hissed softly. It uncoiled, stretching its massive length across the room. And then, to the astonishment of both Adunke and Oba Kweku, it began to speak. Not with words, but in a voice that resonated in their minds. Do not fear, my mother. I am here to protect you, to guide you, and to reveal what the eyes of men cannot see. But the world is not ready for me. The village must be tested, and only the brave and the wise will survive what is coming. Adunke shivered. You can speak? Yes. I am born from the river spirits, from the ancient magic that flows beneath the earth. I am your child, yes, but also a bridge. Those who are pure of heart may see me as I truly am. Those who are selfish will see only fear. Oba Kweku took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. Then we must protect you, he said firmly. No matter what the village thinks, no matter what they do. But the village had already begun to stir. By mid-morning, a crowd had gathered outside Adunke's house. Some carried sticks and farming tools. Others brought offerings, hoping to appease whatever spirit had emerged from their wedding celebration. A few brave souls, including old Nana Yaboa, approached, speaking in calm tones to villagers. You do not understand, Nana Yaboa warned. This is not a curse, though it appears frightening. The spirits have chosen Adunke for a purpose. That snake is a protector, a guide. To harm it is to invite calamity upon ourselves. Yet fear is louder than reason. A farmer named Tay, his face red with anger, shouted, Protector or not, that thing is unnatural. We cannot let it live. It is a sign that the old ways are being broken. Before anyone could act, the snake uncoiled and raised its head high, towering above the crowd. It opened its mouth, not to bite, but to release a stream of golden light that shimmered like molten sunlight. The villagers fell back, shielding their eyes. I do not wish to harm, the snake's voice echoed in their minds. But those who attack me will awaken forces they cannot control. Respect the gift or face the consequences. Some fell to their knees, awed and terrified. Others ran, never to return. Only a handful remained, including Oba Kweku, Adunke, and the wise elders. Adunke reached out and touched the snake's massive head. We have much to learn, she whispered. And soon we must leave the village. It will not be safe here for long. The snake flicked its tongue, tasting the wind. Yes, but first, you must understand who you are, my mother. Only then can the trials begin. That night, as the village slept uneasily under a sky dusted with stars, Adunke could not close her eyes. The snake lay coiled beside her, its massive body pulsing softly, almost like a heartbeat. She had never felt such a strained combination of fear and wonder. Slowly, she placed her hand on its scales, warm and alive under her touch. Mother, the snake whispered in her mind, tonight you will learn why I was sent to you. The river spirits have watched your family for generations. Long before you were born, a prophecy was spoken. Adunke's breath caught. A prophecy? She asked, her voice trembling. Yes. Listen carefully. Many moons ago, your grandmother, she who danced with the spirits by the river at night, was told that one of her descendants would bear the sign of the serpent. The child would be born not fully human, yet not fully spirit. From this child would flow great power, both a blessing and a curse. The child would awaken the old magic of the land and decide the fate of the village and the surrounding lands. Oba Kweku, who had been sitting quietly, listening, swallowed hard. You mean, this snake is a child from the prophecy? Yes, the snake replied, its eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. And you, my mother, are chosen not just to give birth, but a guide to nurture and protect. Without your courage, the prophecy cannot be fulfilled. Adunke's mind raced. She thought of her childhood. The whispers she had heard at night, the strange dreams of rivers that spoke, and the animals that seemed drawn to her. All of it suddenly made sense, yet it terrified her. "But why now?" she asked. "Why on my wedding day?" "The timing is always the spirit's own," the snake said. "The human heart must be tested with joy and fear together. You were to marry, to join your life with another, but life is not meant to be simple. The union of human love and spiritual responsibility will forge your path. The choice you make now will echo through generations." Oba Kweku stepped closer. "Then we must act," he said, his voice steady. "Tell me what to do. I will stand by you." The snake's eyes softened. "First, you must leave the village. Fear has taken root here, and it will not stop. Seek the river of whispers in the eastern forest. There, the elders of the spirits will test you. You must pass their trial, or the power I carry may turn against you." Adunke nodded, determination replacing some of her fear. "Then we leave at dawn." But the snake warned her of more than just physical danger. There will be those who follow, drawn by greed and curiosity. They will seek to capture me, to harness my power. You must be vigilant. Trust only those whose hearts are pure, for deception wears many faces. As the first rays of sun streaked across the village, Adunke and Oba Kweku prepared to depart. The elders who remained, old Nana Yaboa and a few others, bowed deeply. "May the spirits guide you," Nana Yaboa said, "and may courage and wisdom light your path. Remember, what is bore the river cannot be controlled by fear alone." The villagers watched in silence as the enormous snake uncoiled, its body glinting in the morning light like liquid emerald. With a single flick of its powerful tail, it lifted them both onto its back. Adunke clutched Oba Kweku's arm, holding on as they set off into the forest, leaving behind the home they had known, and stepping into a world of danger, magic, and destiny. Deep within the forest, shadows seemed to move of their own accord. Ancient trees whispered secrets to each other, and the wind carried the scent of herbs and strange flowers that had not been seen for centuries. The snake's voice echoed softly. "The river of whispers is not far, but beware, for every step forward is a step into the unknown. You will face fear, betrayal, and temptation. Only by trusting each other and trusting yourself can you survive what is coming." Adunke looked at Oba Kweku, her heart pounding. "I don't know if I'm ready," she admitted. He took her hand firmly. "We don't get to be ready. We only get to be brave." And so, on the back of a serpent larger than any she had ever imagined, Adunke's journey truly began, a journey that would test her courage, her love, and the very essence of what it meant to be human. The forest loomed ahead like a living entity, its canopy so thick that sunlight barely pierced the leaves. Every step the snake took sent the underbrush trembling, and every rustle wind seemed to whisper secrets that only Adunke could hear. The villagers' fears from yesterday felt like a distant memory here. In this forest, fear was alive and omnipresent. As the snake carried them deeper, Adunke noticed strange shapes moving between the trees, shadows that didn't belong to any animal she had seen. The leaves seemed to part and close behind them, as if the forest itself were observing their every move. Oba Kweku gripped her hand tighter. "Do you feel that?" he whispered. Adunke nodded. "It's like the trees are watching us and listening." The snake hissed softly. "This is a forest of whispers. It tests those who enter. Every shadow you see, every sound you hear, is a reflection of your own fears, doubts, and desires. The forest will try to turn you against each other. Trust me and trust yourselves." No sooner had the words left his mind than a figure emerged from between the trees. A woman, tall and cloaked in silver, her hair flowing like liquid moonlight. Her eyes glowed with a strange luminescence. "You seek the river of whispers," the woman said, her voice like the wind through reeds. "But first, you must face the truth of your hearts. Only the pure can proceed." Oba Kweku stepped forward. "And how do we prove our hearts are pure?" The silver woman smiled faintly. "By confronting what you fear most." With a sudden sweep of her hand, the forest changed. Shadows thickened, twisting into grotesque shapes. The ground beneath their feet seemed to quake. Adunke gasped as she saw the faces of her family, contorted in anger and disappointment, whispering cruel words. Behind them, The snake hissed, warning her not to look back. I can't, Adunke whispered, panic rising. You must, the snake urged. Face it, fear cannot be avoided. It can only be embraced and understood. Taking a deep breath, Adunke stepped forward. The faces twisted into her own reflection. Her insecurities, her doubts about her place in the world, and her fear of losing those she loved. Each whisper struck her heart like a dagger. You are unworthy. You are cursed. You cannot protect him. Oba Kweku, too, faced his own shadows. Visions of failure, of betrayal, and of losing Adunke to the unknown. He faltered, but the snake wrapped its massive body around them both, steadying them. Courage is not the absence of fear. The snake's voice echoed in their minds. It is acting despite it. You are stronger than the whispers. Prove it. Summoning all her will, Adunke stepped fully into the visions, holding Oba Kweku's hand tightly. She whispered back to the shadows, I am not afraid of you. I am not my fear. I choose love. I choose courage. The shadows shrieked and twisted, then vanished like smoke in the wind. The forest stilled, the oppressive tension lifting. The silver woman reappeared, nodding. You have passed the first trial. Many fail here, lost to their own doubts. But you have begun to understand the strength within you. Adunke exhaled shakily, relief washing over her. Is it over? The woman shook her head. No, this was only the beginning. The river whispers is still ahead, and greater trials await. But know this, the bond between you is your greatest weapon. Protect it, and you may survive what is coming. The snake unfurled, lowering them gently to the forest floor. Come, it hissed. The river waits, and with it, the next step of your destiny. As they followed, the forest seemed to breathe around them, leaves rustling softly as if whispering encouragement. But in the distance, beyond the thick trees and winding paths, a faint, ominous glow pulsed along the horizon, a warning that danger was drawing near, one that would test not just their courage, but the very limits of trust and loyalty. The forest gradually thinned, revealing a wide valley bathed in silver light. In the center, a river glimmered like liquid crystal, winding and twisting as if it had a mind of its own. Its waters shimmered with colors that did not belong to the ordinary world. Golden streaks, deep violet currents, and flashes of emerald that mirrored the snake's scales. Mist rose from the river, curling and twisting into shapes that seemed almost alive. Adunke's breath caught. Is this the river whispers? She asked, awe and fear mingling in her voice. The snake lifted its massive head, eyes gleaming. Yes, this is where the spirits dwell, where the past, present, and future speak in one voice. We have arrived at the place where your courage and your heart will truly be tested. Oba Kweku stepped forward cautiously, scanning the shimmering waters. What must we do? The river demands honesty, the snake whispered. The spirits will probe your heart, your intentions, and your bond. Only by proving your purity and resolve can you proceed. No sooner had the words left the snake than the mist thickened, and shapes emerged. Figures made entirely of water, shimmering and shifting. Some looked like men and women, others like animals, all with eyes that gleamed with uncanny intelligence. Their voices, though silent, spoke directly to the mind. Why do you seek the river? Do you seek power or protection? Do you value love or fear loss? Are your hearts true or tainted with desire? Adunke felt a chill run through her. These were no ordinary spirits. They could see her deepest fears and secrets. The water figure swirled around her, and Oba Kweku, probing every thought, every emotion. Oba Kweku faltered. We only wish to protect what is right. We wish to safeguard, he paused, realizing the spirits were weighing his honesty. The snake hissed softly, urging them forward. Speak the truth, not what you wish they would hear. Taking a deep breath, Oba Kweku said, I wish to protect Adunke. I wish to protect the child, the snake. I wish to protect the world from those who would exploit it. That is my heart, pure or flawed as it may be. Adunke followed, her voice trembling but steady. I wish to embrace my destiny, to guide and protect the one born from me. I do not seek power, only understanding. I will face fear, pain, and loss if it means fulfilling what the spirits intended. The river glowed brighter, the mist spiraling into a vortex around them. The water figures bowed, acknowledging their sincerity. But then, a darker current pulsed through the river, and the wind howled like a chorus of angry spirits. From the mist, another figure appeared, a dark shadow, twisting and enormous, eyes glowing red. It radiated malice. "So, the chosen have arrived," the shadow hissed, voice like grinding stone. "But purity alone cannot protect you. You must confront the darkness within yourselves and the darkness that lurks beyond this forest." Adunke stepped forward, fear threatening to paralyze her. The snake coiled protectively around her, its body shimmering with golden light. "Do not run. You have come too far. Face the shadow, or it will consume what you hold dear." The shadow lunged, moving faster than the eye could follow, its form shifting into shapes from Adunke and Oba Kweku's worst nightmares. Adunke saw visions of Oba Kweku betraying her, of herself failing to protect the snake, of the village destroyed because of her choices. The shadow struck at their minds, testing their bond, their courage, and their trust. Oba Kweku grabbed Adunke's hand. "We're together," he shouted, though the shadow tried to twist his voice into doubt. "We faced this together." Adunke nodded, gripping his hand. The snake's body glowed brighter than ever, enveloping them both in protective light. "Focus on what is real. Trust in each other. Trust in yourselves." With a surge of courage, Adunke and Oba Kweku met the shadow head-on, refusing to be swayed by its illusions. The shadow screeched, a sound that split the air like a storm, and then began to dissolve into the mist. The water figures shimmered, bowing low. The river sparkled with renewed brilliance. "You have passed the trial," the spirit's collective voice echoed. "But beware, trials ahead will not test only your heart. They will test your world. Darkness seeks a child, and many will come with greed and malice." Adunke looked down at the snake coiled at her feet, its eyes gleaming with pride and intelligence. I think we're ready," she whispered, though deep down she knew the journey was far from over. The river whispered around them, its current carrying secrets of ancient magic, hidden lands, and enemies yet unseen. And from the horizon, dark figures began to move, hunters, warriors, and opportunists drawn by the rumors of a serpent born from a human. The true journey was only beginning. The morning mist still lingered over the river of whispers, curling around the glowing waters like fingers of smoke. Adunke and Oba Kweku had barely caught their breath when a distant sound shattered the fragile calm. The clatter of weapons and heavy footsteps echoing through the forest. Oba Kweku's hand tightened around Adunke's. "Who comes?" he whispered. The snake lifted its head, scales shimmering with warning. "Humans," it said grimly. "Hunters. They have heard of me and will stop at nothing to claim the power that flows through my veins. We must hide or fight." From the treeline emerged a band of men, their armor dark and jagged, eyes glinting with greed. At their forefront was a tall figure cloaked in black, a horn mask obscuring his face. He raised a long spear, pointing it toward the trio. "The serpent belongs to us," he shouted. "Hand it over or face death." Adunke's heart raced. This was the first true human threat they had faced. Men who saw the snake not as a child or guardian, but as a weapon to exploit. She turned to Oba Kweku. "We can't let them take him." The snake hissed, uncoiling its enormous body, stretching longer than the width of the river. Its eyes glowed a bright emerald, radiating power. "I will defend you, but you must be ready, for the world has eyes that do not blink and hands that do not tremble." The hunters charged, weapons raised, but as they stepped onto the riverbank, the water itself reacted. Golden currents surged up, forming barriers that slowed the intruders. The snake struck with lightning speed, its tail whipping through the trees, knocking men off their feet. Its head reared high, jaws opening in a terrifying hiss that sent a shockwave of sound to the forest. Adunke felt a surge of courage. She raised her hands toward the river, and to her astonishment, the water responded, rippling and forming shapes under her control. She could feel the magic of the river coursing through her veins, connecting her to the snake. "You see now," the snake said, "the power of the child flows through you as well. Trust yourself. Trust us." With a determined nod, Adunke focused. Water surged forward in streams, wrapping around the hunters like living ropes, pulling them down into the soft mud of the riverbank. The black-cloaked leader struggled, his mask glinting in the sun, but the combined strength of river and serpent held him fast. Oba Kweku, realizing the danger, fought alongside her, using fallen branches to block the hunters' attacks, protecting Adunke from those who broke free. Together, the three of them were unstoppable, a perfect unity of human courage and supernatural power. Finally, the last hunter fell back, retreating into the forest, leaving only their leader struggling in the river's grip. The snake's emerald eyes bored into him. Tell others, the child is protected. The bond is stronger than greed. Cross this path again, and you'll face more than you can endure. The leader's hands trembled. I will tell them, he stammered. The river released him, and he fled, leaving a trail of fear and mud behind. Adunke sank to her knees, exhausted but exhilarated. Oba Kweku knelt beside her, taking her hand. I didn't know you had that power, he said, awe in his voice. The snake coiled around them both, its massive body radiating warmth and protection. Power alone is meaningless without heart and courage. Today, you learn that the two are one. But know this, the trials have only begun. Others will come, and the world beyond this river holds dangers far greater than greedy men. Adunke nodded, her eyes fixed on the river. Then we must keep moving. We cannot stay here. The prophecy, it is still unfolding, isn't it? Yes, the snake replied. And the next chapter will reveal enemies you cannot yet see, friends you cannot yet trust, and the truth of what it means to be born from both human and spirit. From the edge of the forest, a shadow watched, hidden and silent. Its eyes glowed with a cold, calculating intelligence. The hunters had failed, but the true threat was only beginning to stir. Adunke felt a chill run down her spine. This journey was far from over, and the world had already begun to fight back. The forest grew quieter after the hunters' retreat, though the tension in the air lingered like a thick fog. Adunke and Oba Kweku, still riding the back of the massive serpent, moved cautiously along the riverbank. The sun had begun its descent, painting the sky in streaks of crimson and gold, but there was no comfort in beauty. Danger still lurked, unseen but palpable. The snake's emerald eyes glimmered as it spoke. You have seen only a fraction of my power, but there are abilities I have not yet revealed. The prophecy is not merely about protection. It is about balance. The world must learn to respect the old magic, and I am the bridge. Adunke tilted her head, curiosity overpowering her fatigue. What else can you do? She asked. The snake coiled tighter around them, its scales brushing against her arms. I can control water. Yes, as you felt. I can speak to animals, summon storms, and even glimpse events yet to come. But my greatest strength is the bond we share. Through you, I can touch the hearts of humans. Through you, I learn compassion, courage, and wisdom. Oba Kweku let out a low whistle. So, this means we're not just traveling for protection. We're training. In a sense, the snake replied. But training for survival is only half the lesson. The other half is understanding. Many humans see only power. They do not see responsibility. You must. As they move along the river, a sudden ripple disturbed the water. Shapes emerged, not aggressive, but cautious. Small forest creatures, from monkeys to birds, gathered near the riverbank, watching the serpent and its riders. Adunke felt a strange warmth in her chest. They aren't afraid of him, she whispered. Not all creatures fear what they do not understand, the snake said. Some recognize the spirit within me. Others will learn, as you will, that fear is a choice. Night fell, and they made camp beneath a massive baobab tree. The fire crackled, casting long shadows on ground. Adunke knelt beside the snake, running her hands over its smooth, powerful scales. There is more I must teach you, the snake murmured in her mind. There is a ritual long forgotten that will awaken the deeper part of my being, the part that connects fully to the human world. But it is dangerous. It requires absolute trust and unity. You must be ready. Oba Kweku frowned. A ritual? What kind of danger? Those who are envious, greedy, or cruel will sense the awakening. They will come, drawn by the promise of power. Not all enemies are visible. Not all threats walk on two legs. You must protect me, yes, but you must also trust me to protect you. Adunke exhaled, the weight of their journey pressing down on her. I don't know if I can do this, she admitted. You already are, the snake said, its voice soft but firm. You have faced fear, you have defended me, and you have held your heart open. Courage is not the absence of doubt. It is acting in spite of it. Suddenly, a rustling in the bushes caught their attention. The snake's head lifted, eyes narrowing. Prepare yourselves. Not all who wander this forest are harmless, and some will test not just your strength, but your hearts. From the shadows stepped a figure draped in green and gold, carrying a staff carved from an ancient tree. Its eyes shone like molten amber. I have been sent to guide you, the stranger said. But heed my warning. Not all who appear as friends can be trusted. The world beyond the river is riddled with deception, and the prophecy would demand sacrifices you cannot yet imagine. Adunke exchanged a glance with Oba Kweku. We have no choice, she said. We must follow and we must learn if we are to survive. The snake coiled around them, protective yet ready. Then let the next chapter begin. The true journey is about to unfold. And as the stars twinkled above the river whispers, the trio, human and serpent, prepare to face a world that had only begun to reveal its secrets, its dangers, and the extraordinary destiny that bound them all. The dawn was pale, barely brushing the river whispers with silver light, when the stranger, cloaked in green and gold, led Adunke, Oba Kweku, and the serpent deeper into the forest. The path was twisted, overgrown, and whispering voices floated on the wind, as if the trees themselves were warning them. We are not alone, the snake murmured, its eyes scanning the shadows. Not all who walk with you carry goodwill. Some are drawn by greed, others by fear. Be vigilant. Adunke shivered, clutching Oba Kweku's arm. How will we know? She whispered. The heart always reveals truth, the serpent said. Watch deeds, not words. As they moved, the stranger spoke of the trials ahead. Beyond this ridge lies the Valley of Mirrors. It will show you visions of your deepest desires and your darkest fears. Only those with clarity of purpose may pass. They reached the ridge by midday, and the valley sprawled below them, a strange expanse of reflective surfaces. Pools of water, polished stones, and glass-like mirrors littered the landscape. Adunke's reflection shifted unnaturally in the surfaces, showing herself older, powerful, but alone, clutching the serpent as if were the only companion left in the world. Oba Kweku saw himself as a leader, surrounded by wealth and authority, yet cold and empty, distant from Adunke. Shadows of greed and ambition clawed at his mind, tempting him with promises of power. These are tests, the serpent whispered. Do not fall into illusions. Do not lose sight of what is real. They stepped cautiously into the valley, but as they did, a soft, insidious laughter echoed around them. The green and gold stranger's eyes glimmered strangely. The valley feeds on desires and fear. Look closely. Sometimes even allies are not what they seem. Suddenly, the stranger moved swiftly, grabbing the serpent's tail. The massive creature hissed in fury, but the stranger held firm, a sinister gleam in his eyes. Betrayer, the serpent hissed. You are not here to guide. They will never be allowed to reach the prophecy while you interfere. Adunke gasped. Why would you? The stranger's voice was cold, echoing in the valley. Power such as yours is rare. The prophecy speaks of the child, but it also speaks of control. I intend to claim it, not guide it. The child belongs to me. Oba Kweku drew a hidden dagger from his belt, lunging at the stranger, but the ground shifted beneath him, reflecting his fear in the valley mirrors, causing him to stumble. Adunke stepped forward, heart pounding. We will not let you take him. The serpent coiled around Adunke and Oba Kweku protectively, raising its massive head to face the betrayer. Its eyes blazed, and suddenly the waters of the valley rose in shimmering waves, forming a barrier between them and the stranger. The mirrors themselves began to crack, releasing bursts of golden light. This is your choice, the serpent thundered. Trust each other, or fall to the illusions of greed and deceit. Adunke grasped Oba Kweku's hand tightly. We're together, she said firmly. We will not let him win." With a hiss that shook the valley, the serpent surged forward. The stranger was thrown back, struggling against the force of its power. Pools of water leapt into the air, striking him with unstoppable precision. He fell to the ground, defeated but not destroyed. As silence returned to the valley, the serpent coiled protectively around Adunke and Oba Kweku. "You survived the first betrayal," it murmured. "But know this, others will come, some disguised as friends, some as foes. The world hungers for what is born of both human and spirit. You must remain vigilant." Adunke exhaled, trembling but resolute. "We can face this. Together." Oba Kweku nodded, finally meeting her gaze with unwavering determination. "No matter what comes, we protect him, and each other." The valley shimmered in the golden light of the late afternoon sun, reflecting not only their images but their bond, their courage, trust, and unwavering love. But far beyond the forest, in the shadows of distant mountains, eyes watched their every movement. A darker force stirred, one older and more cunning than any human hunter, and the prophecy, now closer than ever, would demand a sacrifice neither Adunke nor Oba Kweku could yet imagine. Night had fallen over the Valley of Mirrors, and a heavy mist clung to the ground like a living blanket. Adunke, Oba Kweku, and the serpent rested beneath a gnarled tree, its roots curling into the earth like ancient fingers. Despite the calm, a sense of unease hung in the air, an invisible weight pressing against their hearts. The serpent's eyes glowed faintly in the dark. "Tonight, you will witness the first true test of the prophecy. The shadow I warned you of is stirring, a darkness older than this forest, older than the village. It is drawn to the child and will not relent." Adunke shivered. "How can we face something older than the world itself?" "With courage," the serpent replied. "And unity. The power you saw in the river and in the valley is only a fraction of what can be called upon. But to wield it, you must be willing to face fear without flinching, to embrace your bond completely." As the night deepened, the forest around them grew unnaturally still. Then came a sound, a low, rumbling growl that seemed to echo from the depths of the earth. Shadows began to gather at the edges of the mist, forming shapes too massive and twisted to be human. Eyes glowed red in the darkness, and the air turned icy. Oba Kweku whispered, This isn't human. It's something else." The serpent hissed, raising its head high. "It is the darkness itself, drawn to the prophecy. It tests not only the child, but those who protect the child. Stand firm, or it will devour you." Suddenly, the shadows lunged. Twisting forms, neither solid nor entirely ghostly, moved faster than the eye could follow. The serpent's massive body flared with emerald light, striking down the first wave of darkness with its tail. Streams of golden energy rippled from its scales, pushing the shadows back. Adunke felt the river magic surge within her again, stronger than ever before. She raised her hands, calling forth currents of water that flowed around them in a protective circle. "We can do this," she shouted, her voice steady despite the fear clawing at her chest. Oba Kweku stood beside her, courage replacing hesitation. He grasped a fallen branch, its tip glowing faintly in the serpent's light, and together they formed a barrier. The darkness recoiled, then surged again more violently than before, testing their unity. The serpent hissed sharply, "This is the true test. You must not falter. Trust your hearts. Trust the bond we share." Adunke closed her eyes, letting the fear wash over her, then focusing entirely on the love and trust she felt for Oba Kweku and the serpent. She poured all her energy into the river magic, shaping it into a protective wave that collided with the advancing shadows. Golden sparks erupted, illuminating the forest in blinding light. The darkness shrieked, dissolving temporarily into the mist. But from the shadows, a deep, menacing voice echoed, "You may repel me now, child of spirit and human, but the reckoning will come. I am patient. I am eternal. And soon, your bond will be tested as never before." Adunke opened her eyes, panting, but unharmed. Oba Kweku's arm was around her, steadying her, and the serpent coiled protectively around them, its head high and glowing. "You survived," the serpent whispered. "But the darkness has sensed our strength. It will not stop. From this moment, every choice you make, every step you take, will be under its watchful eye. The prophecy is moving faster than you realize. Adunke glanced at Oba Kweku, determination in her gaze. We're ready. No matter what comes next, we face it together. The serpent's eyes gleamed. Good. For the next trial will test not just courage, but sacrifice. And only the purest heart can withstand it. Far beyond the trees in the depths of night, the true darkness stirred fully, an ancient force older than the forest itself, aware of the serpent and its child, and plotting the day it would strike with unstoppable power. The river of whispers shimmered under the pale light of a crescent moon. Adunke, Oba Kweku, and the serpent stood on the riverbank, their eyes fixed on the horizon where the darkness had gathered. A swirling storm of shadows, red eyes glinting like fire. The air crackled with anticipation, and even the river itself seemed to hold its breath. This is it, the serpent said, its massive body coiled tight, muscles tensing. The ultimate test. Not just courage, not just trust, but sacrifice. The darkness seeks the child, and through it, the power of both worlds. To survive, you must embrace your destiny fully. Adunke took a deep breath, feeling the river magic pulse through her veins, mingling with the serpent's power. We face it together, she said, her voice steady. Oba Kweku nodded, gripping her hand firmly. From a storm of shadows, the dark figure emerged, tall, impossibly vast, eyes glowing like molten rubies. Its voice rolled across the river like thunder. You cannot hide from me. You cannot repel the prophecy. The child is mine. The serpent hissed, a sound that shook the trees. Never, as long as I breathe, no harm will come to those I protect. With a roar that seemed to split the night, the serpent lunged forward. Shadows surged around it, but Adunke lifted her hands, calling forth the river's power. Streams of golden light flowed from her fingertips, weaving with the serpent's emerald glow. Together, they formed a shield that pushed the darkness back, rippling through the forest like a wave of pure energy. Oba Kweku stepped forward, drawing courage from their bond. He shouted, "You will not take what is ours," and struck the shadow with a staff carved from an ancient tree, the strike infused with the river's magic. The darkness recoiled, shrieking in rage. The battle raged, shadows clawing and striking. But every assault was met with the combined strength of human courage, love, and the serpent's ancient magic. The river rose, forming towering waves that crashed into the shadows, dissolving them into mist. The storm of darkness twisted, coiling into a single massive entity, a colossal shadow, more terrifying than anything they had faced. "Now, Mother," the serpent hissed, "we must awaken the deepest power." Adunke nodded, closing her eyes. She focused on the bond she shared with the serpent, the love for Oba Kweku, and the courage that had carried them through every trial. She let go of fear, doubt, and hesitation. Golden light poured from her very soul, mingling with the serpent's emerald aura, creating a blinding radiance that split the night. The colossal shadow screamed, twisting and recoiling as the light engulfed it. Slowly, it began to unravel, pieces of darkness dissolving into harmless mist. Finally, with one last howl that echoed through the forest, the shadow shattered entirely, leaving only the calm of the river and the glitter of starlight. Adunke opened her eyes, trembling but triumphant. Oba Kweku hugged her tightly, and the serpent lowered its massive head, its eyes glowing softly with pride. "The prophecy is fulfilled," the serpent whispered. "The darkness is vanquished, not by strength alone, but by the purity of heart, courage, and unity. You have proven yourselves worthy." The river shimmered, golden and emerald light, dancing across its surface. The forest seemed to sigh, the whispers now gentle and approving. Animals emerged from the shadows, and the wind carried a song of victory and renewal. Adunke looked at Oba Kweku and then at the serpent. "We did it together." "Yes," the serpent said, curling around them protectively. "And this is only the beginning. The world will remember the child born of spirit and human. Together, you have restored balance, and the legacy will continue for generations." As the first light of dawn broke across the river, Adunke realized the truth of the prophecy. It was never about power or fear, but about love, courage, and the bonds that unite hearts across worlds. She smiled, finally understanding that even the most extraordinary trials could be overcome when faced together. The village of Nkosi would hear tales of the wedding day that birthed the serpent, but they would never know the depth of the journey that followed. The battles fought, the darkness faced, and the extraordinary destiny of the child who bridged human and spirit. And high above the river whispers, the serpent raised his head to the rising sun, scales glimmering like jewels, and hissed a final, triumphant roar, a promise that protection, courage, and love would endure no matter what the future held. The prophecy had been fulfilled, and a new legend was born.